Thank you for your service. In preparation for the transition program you're about to attend, this course is designed to assist you and your family identify and deal with the upcoming changes in their lives that will result from your departure from the military. Let's take some time to consider the effect your transition will have on your personal support structure, your immediate and extended family, as well as other interpersonal relationships affected by your upcoming career and lifestyle changes. We aren't just speaking about married Marines and their spouses. Definitions for family can be very diverse, and the meaning of the word family often varies from person to person. For many service members, family includes immediate and extended family, friends, and co-workers. Your transition plan should include how you will keep all of your family members, however you choose to define them, informed and involved in the transition process. Just as families prepare for deployment, they must also prepare for transition, logistically, emotionally, and financially. Transition can be exciting and fun, but it can also be challenging and stressful. It may cause anxiety and can impact communication within the family, as well as cause financial uncertainty due to the change in employment status. Families who are prepared and equipped with the skills, tools, and knowledge to overcome obstacles by working together and regularly communicating will succeed during the military transition. Before we continue, stop and consider your personal situation. Whom do you include in your definition of family, and should you include them in your transition planning? Here are a few situations which can cause stress on your family relationships and which you may want to consider if they apply to you. If you're moving back into your parents' home, what will your relationship be like considering you have not lived with your parents for several years? What rules do you need to discuss with your parents prior to moving back home? If you have a parent or sibling residing with you, what special planning and communication considerations come to mind? Do you have aging parents who require care? Do you have an exceptional family member with special needs? Dual military households may experience more stress when one member separates while the other remains in the military. What other considerations come to mind? Just as when you return from deployments, you should also be aware of the need to adjust to newly defined family roles and discuss the timing and options to redefine the roles and responsibilities over time. You should allow everyone time to adapt and make gradual changes. Be patient and take things slowly. Change is stressful, and whether you view this transition positively or negatively, it's still a stressful change. There are 8 areas families may need to renegotiate during transition: expectations, family dynamics, language, routines, responsibilities, stress, relocation, and finances. Let's take a closer look into these areas. What is expected from each family member can change during transition. Expectations can be in the role the family member plays or in the relationship itself. Having family meetings and including the children, if you have them and if they are old enough, is helpful to make sure everyone knows what to expect. What expectations do you need to discuss with your family? Your family dynamics may change during your transition, and the roles your family members play may also change. For example, think back upon the times you deployed. Your family adapted to the situation. Maybe they modified the frequency and modes of communication with you. If you had a spouse, he or she may have taken over your roles, such as handling the finances and making the parenting decisions. Similar to your deployments, family roles can also change during transition. It's important to understand that the challenges and changes created by your transition can influence family dynamics. What family dynamics will change for you during this transition? The language we use is often different between what we use on base or on duty than what we use off base. For example, on base we use terms like PX, chow, and secure for the day. What words or phrases do you or your family use in the military community but may not hear off base or in the civilian community? As you and your family reintegrate into the civilian communities, especially if you don't locate near a military installation, it's important to understand the different uses of language between the military and civilian sectors. The language to which you have become accustomed in the military community may not translate into your new civilian community. You may also move to an unfamiliar geographic location for educational or career reasons. What language differences should you begin to recognize in order to communicate effectively and feel comfortable in your new community? Your routines and your family's routines will be completely different while you are searching for career and educational opportunities and relocating. For some, lack of a routine can cause some internal tension as well as tension in the household. For others, lack of routine is new and exciting. What changes to your personal and family routines do you anticipate? Responsibilities may also change during transition. Perhaps you were the main income earner in the home, and now your spouse will become the main source of income while you remain at home, attend school, or search for a new career. It may also be that during your time in the military, your family grew used to your frequent absences, and now your spouse and other family members will now have to adjust to your taking a greater role in family decisions. It's important to develop and maintain open communication with your family during this transition. What responsibility changes do you anticipate within your family during this transition? Stress levels among veterans and their family members are typically elevated. Some of the indicators of stress are similar to pre-deployment, deployment, and post-deployment stress indicators, such as unexplained crying or tearfulness, clinging among family members, sleep disturbances, fatigue, and nightmares, behavioral or personality changes such as withdrawal, moodiness, sadness, anxiety, irritability, and anger. Changes in eating patterns, headaches and illnesses, problems at school or work, low self-esteem, increased self-criticism, loss of enthusiasm for hobbies and interests, fear or lack of responsiveness for children, intensified fears in children that their parents will be unable to adequately care for them, or fear of abandonment. Obsessive spending or runaway spending can also be indicators of stress. Just like cohesive military units take care of their members, it is important for families to pay attention to each other and to pick up on these stress indicators. If the stress gets too high for anyone in the family, seek professional help from resources such as the Family Service Center, your chaplain, Military One Source, and the Behavioral Health Clinic. Relocating to a new neighborhood, school, employment area, and support services can also be challenging, but on the other hand, it gives everyone a fresh start. Try to involve your entire family in some aspect of the relocation. Relocation impacts the entire family, and getting individual input from all family members on what is important to them in a new location, home, or school can ease the transition. Relocating for many family members and families is a normal process which provides the opportunity to identify and get rid of items no longer needed or used, and provides the opportunity to move to a new location and experience a new community or culture. Whether seen as an opportunity or challenge, each family must communicate about the move, identify what is important for each family member as it relates to the impending move, and establish courses of action based on desires and needs. What opportunities and challenges do you foresee the relocation creating for yourself and your family? In relationships, there is a normal delineation of roles and responsibilities. Who manages the family's budget today might change as you transition to the civilian sector. Role and responsibility changes as a result of deployments or extended absences are a normal occurrence for military families. As you transition from the military, your family should discuss financial roles and responsibilities that may change. The person who manages the budget, maintains the checkbook, and other financial management tools may change. Just as you needed to discuss and adjust to role changes that were a result of deployment or an extended absence, you will need to discuss possible role changes as you transition. Monthly income can also change when transitioning. Pay that was regular may no longer be regular. Pay that may not have been taxable is now taxed. You may have a spender and a saver relationship, and that may also shift. You should create, review, and update your spending plan with your spouse and family. During this transition period, it is important to discuss how money will be utilized during any periods of unemployment. This may allow a new beginning for financial considerations. Families should be creative and look at options for conserving money in a positive manner. You or your family members should ask for guidance from the Unit Command Financial Specialist or the Base Personal Financial Manager as a first step. You may have been gone 8 to 10 hours a day or more during your military career, and you may find you have more time to spend at home as you prepare to transition. You should maintain rules and routines in your home life, but some of the routines will require adjustment due to available financial resources, a pending relocation, and new schedules. Communication changes as well. Typically, there is much more face-to-face communication rather than the email, voicemail, and phone calls you were used to on deployment. Sometimes this subtle reality is very different for families. For some, this can be a welcome part of leaving the military. Change will drive new behaviors and will lead to new habits, and adjustments. Spouse, career, and employment goals are usually impacted by the military lifestyle. The requirements to relocate to a new base and community and reestablish networks may be challenging. Spouses are accustomed to following service members during their career and making career adjustments, transfers, and sacrifices to maintain the relationship and support the family. A common situation which occurs at transition is that the spouse may be ready to actively pursue their own career by setting new employment goals. This can cause a shift in the relationship and create some unwanted anxiety if not discussed and addressed in a positive, proactive manner. The spouse's employment goals may not have been clear to the service member, and the goals may be coming to the forefront as the family discusses the transition process. As with many opportunities and challenges during the transition, open and continuous communication is important to identify and address transition-related issues. Environmental changes can be some of the biggest adjustments for you and your family. For families used to living on and being supported by the military base atmosphere, this situation is very real. If you and your family live on base and use the base commissary, exchange, fitness center, and other community services facilities, you might not have as much exposure to the cost of these activities in the civilian community. On a positive note, looking for new places to frequent can become a family activity. Finding new restaurants, fitness facilities, and exploring community resources such as the YMCA can be a way to make connections with neighbors and new friends. What off-base resources do you currently use that may indicate your level of acclimatization and integration into your current civilian community? If you have school-age children, consider their transition into a new school and considerations that may be specific to your situation. For example, are you separating in the middle of your children's school year? Schools situated near military bases are more likely to have strategies in place to support students and their families as they integrate into the school and community. You may not be relocating near a military base, but you may want to consult with local schools before you leave the area to see if their strategies and programs might be a good fit for your situation during the transition. Also, you may want to consult with schools in which your children will enroll after your transition to determine what strategies they have for incoming students. What education and school resource considerations apply to your family?
Both women and men can experience sexual harassment or sexual assault during their military service. The Department of Veterans Affairs refers to these experiences as military sexual trauma, or MST. Like other types of trauma, MST can negatively impact a person's mental and physical health, even many years later. Some problems associated with MST include disturbing memories or nightmares, difficulty feeling safe, feelings of depression or numbness, problems with alcohol or drugs, feeling isolated from other people, problems with anger or irritability, problems with sleep, and even physical health problems. You can seek assistance through your primary military or civilian healthcare provider, as well as the Department of Veterans Affairs or one of the Department of Veterans Affairs vet centers. You may also want to view the resources at www.womenshealth.va.gov and www.vetcenter.va.gov. According to the Department of Defense, women comprise 14% of active duty military personnel and 15% of the reserves, resulting in increased resources and support systems for female veterans. Women can sometimes experience different challenges than their male counterparts. Women more often have additional factors to consider when making the transition from military to civilian. It is important to stay connected to members of the same units, friends, and family to have continuation of support during time of transition. Women tend to go back to their home of record in order to establish support. There are more than 1.7 million women veterans in the U.S., according to the statistics provided by Women in Military Service for America Memorial Foundation. And that number is growing every day. Check your local area for female veteran support groups that can help with transition and building community connections. Women typically fall into the role of parent, caregiver, or spouse and rarely think of themselves as veterans and miss out on opportunities and services that are available to them as a veteran. Link up with your local Veterans Office to ensure you are plugged into the veteran community. Some additional resources for support are Marine for Life, WomenJoiningForces.org, your local VFW post, and the American Legion. There may be more resources depending on your area of residence. You don't have to transition alone.
There are many resources available to you and your family as you begin to plan for and execute your transition. Among the resources are Military OneSource, the DoD Mental Health Network, your chaplain, family support centers, Base Legal, and Behavioral Health Clinic. What other resources can you think of to assist your transition? No matter what your situation, there are resources to assist you. You should consider utilizing the resources and seeking assistance before your situation gets out of control. Your transition is an exciting period, a time for new beginnings as well as endings. Your family and personal support network provide crucial assistance and should be included in your planning and personal decision making. As you begin the transition process, take the time to identify and review considerations that may cause friction and stress to you and your family. Addressing those considerations and maintaining open communication channels throughout your transition will lead to an easier transition to civilian life for you and your family. Now that you have completed this portion of your pre-work, you will need to download and print a copy of your Certificate of Completion located on this website. Please bring it to class with you. Thank you, and we look forward to seeing you at the Transition Seminar.